I get asked this question all the time. What type of brand should I start to get rich? And the truth is, if you want to get rich, you shouldn't start a brand. The reason I'm making $50, $60, $70,000 a month now isn't because I started a brand. There's another reason. Ever since I was a little kid selling candy bars in Little League, I always wanted to be the best and make a lot of money. Not just pay my bills money, but like you money. Life-changing, do whatever you want, whenever you want, generational wealth kind of money. And this has set me down a ton of different paths. And I learned a lot from those that were rich, like rich, but even more from the folks who I thought were rich, but who now I realize make less than I do. And they were founders of 7- and 8-figure companies. So this raises the question, of course, how do I get rich? So what are the simple steps that I can follow so that I don't have to waste my life doing a portion of somebody else's work for a portion of somebody else's pay, and I can have real freedom? Or you can spend the rest of your life playing the victim and saying only people who were born lucky or caught a break deserve the life that you want. If you're here, you know that you deserve more success and less stress in your life. You want financial freedom and pride, and the ability to never have to say again, well, maybe someday.
Maybe someday you'll wake the fuck.
If that's you, then the next few minutes are gonna change your life. When I was a small kid, I happened to be the #1 candy bar salesman for West Springfield Little League Baseball back in my first year at T-ball. And I got a gift certificate to Toys R Us that let me get a brand new bike for free. So every year after that until middle school, I was the #1 salesman, and I actually outdid what I did the year before. And every year until middle school, I had a brand new Huffy every summer. I developed the skill to not only get someone's attention, but also to get them to buy a candy bar from me, even though I was outside a Blockbuster Video or a grocery store where they could have gotten the same thing for cheaper on the inside. I learned the value of having that communication skill and the joy of not only making the sale, but also developing that relationship, plus getting to enjoy a new Huffy every summer. When I went off to college, I ended up being a touring musician. And when you spend night after night in a van or a hotel room, the food you eat, if you eat at all, depends so much on how people know you and the impact you had on them that evening. In that environment, I learned one of the most important marketing skills ever, which was to assume the positive and provide a choice. It's very different to say to somebody when you get off stage, hey, thank you, would you like to buy a shirt? Than it is to say, thank you for your support. Which shirt would you like to buy? Now, the sad truth is during this time, I also developed a really bad drug habit. And I've got over a decade clean and sober now, but being a junkie teaches you lessons through the lens of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Just how important every conversation can be and the true value of freedom. When you have to make the decision between gas for your car and food for your stomach, and drugs for your body so that you can stand up and not shake, you develop an appreciation for freedom. And you learn actually how valuable you and your time really are. Eventually, after 10 years of that, I got sober and started my career in advertising. And I learned a very important lesson early on about my value as an employee. There was this time where I was spending over $1 million a day for brands like Nissan and CBS, Activision and Henkel, Apple and Levi's. And our commission on that was 20%, which means I was driving over $200,000 a day in commission revenue. But I only made $75,000 a year. Because of that massive ad spend, I was running case studies every single day, even though spending that client's money wasn't approved. And I was sharing that information, even though that was apparently frowned upon. But by constantly making mistakes, I learned the skills of digital marketing and truly began to appreciate the value I brought to the table and what I could do to move the needle myself for a business's bottom line. I was able to make sure that TV shows won Sweeps Week. I could fill up test drives at dealerships a week before a car came out. And I could make sure that a video game title was the #1 selling every single year. But I was also a really bad employee, and I never held a job for more than 9 months. Primarily because I never understood the value of being a good player on a team that does bad work for a client. I was surrounded by people that were building a career by showing up to work and doing what they were told. They were doing a portion of their boss's job for a fraction of the revenue they were driving for the client. And if they did a really, really good job, they might see an extra $1,000 a month next year, even though they were driving an extra few $1 million in revenue. In my head, this was borderline abusive and exploitative, but they were happy to have that job and to build that career. But I knew that I deserved a lot more than that. Eventually, I joined a few brands and I brought them from 80 million to 20, or from 13 million to 100. And I was still a salaried employee, but I started to work on making my own money on the side. And I had developed a side hustle strategy, combining all of those skills that I had developed over all of those years and all of those opportunities. And it actually paid me better than my day job. Now, I know you love this video, but sadly, YouTube only has a like button. So go ahead and smash it aggressively, with enthusiasm. And go ahead and hit like and subscribe to invest your time and effort into seeing more of this information. With that being said, let's get back to it. I actually began to earn more money than the guy running the business. Remember, when you're running a business, it's exceedingly difficult, and you ultimately have to hire people who are better than you at the things that you're not good at. But this means you're also investing far more of your revenue in growing the business. Now that sounds all well and good, but there's a dark side to that very few people actually share. I know plenty of people that run an 8-figure business that bring home $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, and that's amazing. But as the business grows, they don't make any more money because they have to pay out more and more to grow that business. And many folks I know actually work more than ever now and actually bring home less. The biggest lesson I got out of this that I want you to take away, if nothing else today, is that those folks that were working next to me at the ad agencies, that were working really, really hard to do really, really good work as they were told so that they could be rewarded with maybe earning an extra $1,000 a month next year, were immediately replaceable. And the folks who ran those businesses worked often 10 times harder than everybody else and rarely took home any more money as the business grew. My man Joshua Mayo likes to refer to things as minor skills and major skills, but I like to call them commodity skills versus undeniable value. You have to develop skills that allow you to bring to the table undeniable value if you truly want to make life-changing money. If what you do can be replaced by somebody else in a few days' time, then you're not worth more money because your work is a commodity. Being another worker in the office is no different than being another sock on the shelf. You might have a little bit of an identity, but ultimately provide no added value over the hundreds or thousands of alternatives that are immediately available. Now remember, not all skills are created equal. You can put your socks on your feet, but that doesn't mean you should be a millionaire. You can fill out some paperwork with almost no mistakes, almost on time, every single time, but that doesn't mean that you can't be replaced by software. You can run ads for somebody's store, but that doesn't mean that you're not immediately replaceable by a million other people that will do the exact same job. The biggest difference between undeniable value and a commodity skill is that commodity skills are immediately replaceable, and undeniable value can make you rich. Being able to run ads for somebody is a great skill, but ultimately it's a commodity. And that's not what got me to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month. Taking those ad skills that I developed and pairing them with my ability to communicate with people, the understanding of marketing, and human psychology. That is what gave me undeniable value. And this helped me earn as much in a month as I used to earn in a whole year. Understanding how to use a fancy camera and what microphone makes you sound good, those are commodity skills. Those two skills alone aren't what helps me drive $50,000 to $70,000 a month from my YouTube channel. Those two skills paired with my ability to tell a story in a way that helps create opportunity and change in the life of a complete stranger, that is undeniable value. That is what helps me earn $50,000 a month or more from YouTube. I see people running ads for years that haven't been able to scale a business past a certain point. I see YouTubers with channels that have been live for years and stopped growing. I see people that run businesses that have reached some definition of success, but they never make more money, even though they're working harder and harder just to keep things where they're at. And they ultimately get more and more stressed out. And this causes them not only their money, but also their happiness and their health. And all they really ever did was develop a day job that pays them maybe as much as they could elsewhere, but they work twice as much. What all of these people have in common is they're leveraging commodity skills, but they haven't paired them together to create undeniable value. And if you're not bringing undeniable value, you're never going to get rich. So where does this leave us? Well, we're gonna have to develop some skills that'll ultimately be paired together to create undeniable value. And the easiest way to get started is to start using the skills you have with the opportunity that's available. Now, I know that sounds really easy. And well, if that worked, why isn't everyone doing it? Let me tell you, most people make the mistake of never getting started because initially you're gonna make a lot less than you think you're worth. And this is really the trick played on people around day jobs. Somebody else will do all of the hard work to make it so that you only have to show up and do what you're told so you can make a fraction of the value you bring to that company, because ultimately you're replaceable. If instead you can begin to dedicate yourself to the development of undeniable value by pairing skills together with your experience, you'll start making more money in a month than your friends do in a year. The secret here is that repetition develops skill, right? Practice makes perfect. You don't get paid to practice. And most people will never actually get started because they're not gonna get paid what they think they're worth based on what they think they'll be worth when they can actually drive undeniable value. And because of this, they never actually develop anything other than commodity skills. You'll never be good enough on day one. You can't run a marathon the day you decide to get off the couch. No, it takes practice, it takes repetition, it takes investing in yourself. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar actually spent hours every day in middle school developing the skyhook. Mastery is the mysterious process during which what is at first difficult becomes progressively easier and more pleasurable through practice. Masters make more money. So go and fill your calendar with work that you think is beneath you so that you can develop a foundation where you can dig deep and pour into yourself all of the resources that will ultimately allow you to develop mastery and provide undeniable value. Every one of those jobs I got fired from built me up. Those years of drug addiction taught me to value my time. Selling all of those candy bars and band merch gave me the opportunity and the reps to talk to thousands of people and convince them to give me money for something they didn't need. Working for less than you are worth so that you can develop a skill set that allows you to master something so that you can provide undeniable value as an investment in yourself that will pay off for the rest of your life. And speaking of investment, down below you can see ways that you can invest in yourself in Disruptor School, the Facebook Ads MBA program. I also have links down there for my newsletter, and if you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis without all the other distractions, there's a link for that too. We can get together for 15 minutes or a whole hour. We can work on you, your business, dive into your Facebook ad account, whatever you want to do. It's your time, it's your money. Let's make the absolute most of it so that you can see the success that you deserve and get rid of all that stress that you don't. Now, with that being said, thank you guys so much. You're beautiful out there. I appreciate all of your support. And YouTube thinks you might like a couple of these videos. Don't forget to hit the button. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Bye.